Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for March 5th, 2013. We have a lot to talk about here, so we're going to get right to it. We have temperatures basically in the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, lower to mid 30s along the coast, and we have winds from the northwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour. These winds are going to veer to the northeast over the next several hours as a storm starts to develop along the mid-Atlantic coast. Now, looking at the radar here, you can see that this disturbance is very strong over the northern plains. Plenty of moisture developing and lifting developing, producing scattered rain and snow showers throughout the northern interior, or should I say the northern Mississippi River Valley and the western Great Lakes. You can also see precipitation starting to evolve over the Kentucky and Tennessee River Valley, should I say. And you can also see on the infrared satellite picture, our disturbance is very impressive, with strong lifting over the northern plains and northern Mississippi River Valley, and a strong upper level low over the Canadian Maritimes. So this disturbance is clearly going to be a very important factor here in order to pull this storm further north. This disturbance right here is what we're going to have to keep an eye on. Taking a look at the water vapor satellite picture, what basically changed in this forecast is that this upper level trough tracked a little bit further to the west, and so as a result, it allows the whole storm track to shift a little bit closer to the coast and allows for more impact on a little bit further north track and allows the interaction of this disturbance that's going to dive south to pull that storm closer to the coast. I'm going to use the NAM model, the GFS model guidance from the Penn State EWOL website. We're going to jump right to this storm at 42 hours. This is Wednesday afternoon. Now notice some of the changes here. This storm is coming in a little bit faster. More for late Wednesday morning, late tomorrow morning, on through early Thursday morning. And that means that we're going to be dealing with this storm during daylight hours and with a warmer boundary layer. Very important factor here in this forecast. So clearly we have a very strong dynamic storm. This disturbance right here allows the trough to go negative, slows everything down. And so we have an intense storm off the Delmarva coast that basically tracks east-northeast, well to the east of the benchmark, okay, but close enough to produce heavy precipitation, especially right along the coast. But notice the best dynamics are focused off of the New Jersey coast, and that's a very important factor here. I'm going to go right to the GFS here, zoomed in a little bit. I'm going to jump right to 42 hours. Now, notice at 42 hours, we have very strong winds coming right to the coast from the east, anywhere from 15 to 30 miles per hour. This is a very important observation. You're going to have strong easterly winds along the coast moving into the interior, which is bringing in warm Atlantic air. So while that's happening, you also have very strong dynamics and very heavy precipitation developing over Maryland and Northern Virginia and Delaware. That very strong lifting basically moves over southern New Jersey, let's say around Cape May, and then off of the New Jersey coast, and then shifts up towards Boston. In other words, it basically does this. It tracks here, here. It basically misses Philadelphia and New York City. So that intense lifting that you need in order to override the warmer boundary layer in place is going to miss Philadelphia and New York City. So as a result, it's going to be harder to change that heavy rain over to heavy snow because you don't have the cooling factor involved to support that. And you can see at 500 millibars, you have sinking air developing with this storm around the best lifting and dynamics. You have these pockets here. And so what that tells me is that you're going to have, with the heavy precipitation right along the coast, you're also going to have a lot of breakup on the northern and western edge of this precipitation shield as the storm evolves. So also, I want to bring up the NAM model guidance real fast at the same time period. Let's say start at 42 hours. Again, notice very strong easterly winds. Look at your boundary layer temperatures in the mid-30s over the northern interior to the upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. Kind of difficult to have snow accumulation with those type of temperatures. And at the height of this storm, at 45 hours, we have heavy precipitation throughout the entire region, and your temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s. Again, if the best lifting and dynamics are sitting right over these locations, then you could see temperatures falling below freezing or at least at freezing, and as a result, your rain-snow mix becomes a heavy snowfall. And some of these pockets that are showing up here, you might actually see that. You know, a brief change over to all snow, it kind of whitens the ground. But again, Once that lifting moves to the east, you change back over to a rain-snow mix. So accumulation, I think, is going to be difficult here. And then as we head towards 48 hours, while we're heading towards the evening hours on Wednesday, your heaviest precipitations right along the coast here, your best dynamics are shifting off the coast, and your temperatures are still above freezing along the coast, with a wind starting to back towards the northeast at this point, but the damage is already done with a strong easterly wind. So at this point now you're kind of racing against time in order to get those temperatures to fall fast enough to allow for accumulation. So then by the time you head into the evening hours, again, you're starting to cool off because it's the evening hours and get the heavy precipitation moving in. But again, your heaviest precipitations right along the coast where your temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s with a warm boundary layer with your pavement still relatively warm because you've been in the 40s earlier on, about 4 hours earlier. So again, the focus here is that yes, the storm is going to be a little bit further north. You're going to have very heavy precipitation. Wind is going to be a major problem here. So here's the forecast with this storm. If you're in, let's say, northeastern Pennsylvania, I think the brunt of this is going to miss you, looking at 1 to 2 inches of snow. A little bit further to the south, looking at 2 to 4 inches of snow, especially just to the south of Hazleton and just to the north of Allentown. Light to moderate snow, all snow in these locations. Up towards Connecticut, you're going to be dealing with more of a rain-snow mix because of that warm air moving in. And again, looking at 2 inches if it's a later changeover, 4 inches if it's an earlier changeover. Down towards Philadelphia, this is going to be a highly volatile forecast here. I think most locations are going to be around 3 inches, but if the changeover is faster and you get a little bit more lifting, then definitely 6 inches of snow will be possible. 4 to 8 inches around Lancaster and over the western suburbs of Philadelphia here. And as you head down towards York, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches. These locations will have very strong lifting factors, and as a result, allow the atmosphere to cool right around 32 to 33 degrees, allowing for very heavy snowfall to develop and accumulate. So that's why we're going with higher snowfall totals here. Meanwhile, right along the coast, notice I'm going with up to 1.5 inches of rain, but a trace to 3 inches of snow. Why? Because of the temperatures I'm showing you. I can clearly see where you have big wet snowflakes falling in the air, but they don't really accumulate on the ground. They just melt on the pavement. I think we're going to see a lot of that with this storm. So as a result, with that easterly wind, looking at rain to snow, eventually changing over to snow as the wind's back to the northwest and colder air comes in. Looking for a trace to 3 inches of snow accumulation as a result. Again, the faster the changeover, the more the snow. As far as coastal flooding, you could see a storm surge in some locations up to 8 feet. I'm looking for most locations anywhere from 3 to 6. And winds from the east back into the northwest anywhere from 15 to 30 miles per hour, gusts over 60 miles per hour. Wind damage will be a significant problem with this storm, especially along the coast, unfortunately. So use some caution and get prepared. That is your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. A little bit of good news. Once the storm leaves, temperatures start to warm up and we end up in the 50s by this weekend. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.